Hello and welcome to this lecture on project versus process. A process is the everyday activity of a traditional business. And just as a quick reminder, the purpose of a business is to make money. And a business makes money by selling either goods or services. Goods are tangible items that you sell, and services are the intangible items. So if you're painting somebody's house, the painting of the house is a service, and you're paid for your work effort. If you're selling the can of paint, then you're the company selling a good. But goods and services are the fundamental heart of a business. You're doing one or the other. And the processes within an organization are those day-to-day activities involved in developing and selling the goods and services of that organization. Supply chain management is part of a process management. It's how do we manage all of the raw materials coming into our organization that we use to create our goods? How do we manage those materials leaving our warehouses, going down to the distributors and to the customers in the final end? Managing that supply chain, making sure we have enough materials in inventory, making sure that our vendors have the products that they need for their customers. That whole thing can be very time-consuming, very complex, and is an interesting topic for study, but it's really not the study of this class of this topic. We're not talking about supply chain management or logistics, again, overseeing the day-to-day processes within an organization. What we're interested in this class and in this lecture in particular is project management. And the idea of a project is this is it's a temporary effort to do something unique within the organization. So we want to come up with a unique product, a unique service, a unique result. We want to do something a little bit differently. We're always, from a process perspective, trying to get a little bit better. Kaizen. We're always trying to, a Japanese word for constant improvement. We're always trying to figure out how to produce a slightly better can of paint, how to produce a slightly better mousetrap, how to produce a slightly better tennis shoe, or whatever it is that we're making, how to be slightly more efficient in our lawn care service or in our home painting service. But with a project, we're looking at the changes that come because of potentially the disruptive nature of technology, or because of some other moving issues in the landscape, some new opportunities. And it's like, okay, well, this is not who we have been in the past, but there's an opportunity for us to redefine ourselves or to come up with brand new products or services that we've never done before. Let's investigate that. Let's set up a project to determine our feasibility of entering into that market space. So think of it this way: Coca-Cola and Google. Coca-Cola is a dominant player in the soft drink market, and in this sense they are probably a good classic process company. They embrace status quo because their company goals for this year are probably very similar to their company goals 10 years ago or 20 years ago. They focus on those small improvements to the repeatable, long-standing processes that fill up their work calendars. At Coca-Cola, if they can just save a few dollars per ton of aluminum that they buy to make their cans to hold their soft drinks, then that can help them improve their annual goals for increased profitability for that year. That's not a radical change. That's an improvement to the process. Now, Google is a dominant player in the modern information age economy. Google generates almost all of its revenue from advertising, rather than, in the case of Coca-Cola, from producing a specific product. Because Google is advertising driven, they benefit from having a large number of customers with eyeballs on their products, even if those products are free, and most Google products are free, because again, they're making their money from advertising, not from the users paying for their goods. It's the advertisers paying for the eyeballs of the people using their Google search engine or using their Gmail or using their other products. So how are things different when we're dealing with a company that is not so much process oriented like Coca-Cola, but is a little more innovative like Google? Well, one of the things about Google is, and they're famous for this, Google employees are allowed to spend up to 20% of their time working on ideas or projects that are of interest to them, that are of personal interest. So if you're hired at Google and your job is to be a coder, or your job is to be a salesperson, or your job is to be a marketing person, or your job is to run research groups, or whatever it is that you do at Google, 20% of your time can be devoted to a project or an activity that you're interested in that has potential for the company down the road. And one of the amazing things about this is these employee-driven projects have actually accounted for about 50% of Google projects. New Google projects have originated from these 20% time efforts. So thinking about projects, it is about this innovation. It is about doing things a little bit different. And both process management and project management are important in an organization. You don't want to completely blow up your company and not do what you've been doing successfully. But you also don't want to be laissez-faire and just sit back and say, well, the market's never going to change. We can just keep producing the exact same products the exact same way for 20 years and be successful. You don't want to be that way either. So processes need to be managed and effective, and projects, new innovative ideas, need to be managed and effective too. And of the two, as the economy changes more rapidly because technology is more disruptive, it's becoming more and more important to have project management be a strength of your organization as much as your process managements are. So here's a couple quotes. Projects, rather than repetitive tasks, are now the basis for the most value-added activities in a business. And that's just saying that status quo, you can't count on that. You've got to be innovative. You've got to be changing in projects, new ideas, new services, new goods. That's how that happens. And here's a quote from Fortune magazine. It's a little harsh, but it was in our book. I thought it's worth repeating. Middle managers are dinosaurs, and a new class of manager mammal is evolving to fill the niche that middle managers once ruled. This new group are called project managers. Unlike his biological counterpart, the project manager is more agile and more adaptable than the beast that he is displacing. The project manager is more likely to live by his wits than throwing his weight around like the middle managers used to do and just bullying people and forcing people. So projects are critical to the success of an organization in today's fast-changing, highly competitive marketplace. And for you, as you become familiar with project management skills, and you're going to in this class, that will benefit you regardless of your specific role in the organization, because there will be projects ongoing in whatever company you work with, and your chance to be involved in those projects will create good opportunities for you. And as you learn the terminology, the steps involved, the mindset of project management, it will help you as you go. So again, not to belabor this, but project versus process. This is a nice one-page summary, and then I've got another more detailed summary after this. But project, in your mind, you're thinking take place outside the process world, where the process is the ongoing day-to-day, everyday activities, making the Coca-Cola in cans, shipping them out into warehouses, distributing them to Kroger's and Sam's and Walmart, and customers buying them and being happy with it. Project is unique and separate from the normal organizational work, and processes are the normal organizational work using the existing systems, the existing capabilities, the existing personnel. Everything's the same. Projects are continually evolving, and processes are typically repetitive. Now, there's still improvement within repetitive. Kaizen is the name, again, I mentioned, of the continuous improvement term they use in Japan. So there's always a sense of Kaizen, but project is more evolution than just minor improvements. So let's look at this. This is in your book. It's in Table 1 in your reading here, and we look at 9, I think it is, different comparisons between the process that a traditional company like Coca-Cola has and a project that's more innovative like you'd see at Google. Repeat process or product. The idea of a process is it's going to be repeatable, whereas in a project, new processes or new product, the goal is to do something, end up with something different than just what we had before, maybe 5% better. We want to have something new and different. Several objectives. That is to say, there's many ways to improve a can of Coca-Cola, but you still end up with a can of Coca-Cola. You can improve your supply chain coming in. You can improve your internal processes for manufacturing and temperature control and quality control and testing. You can improve the shipping process between using boat delivery versus train versus car delivery and truck delivery, and anything you can do. Several objectives within the organization. You end up developing processes and finance and marketing and management. All of those things are involved in selling a can of Coke because it's the same thing within the organization. On a project, there's one objective. Let's do something new. Let's do something innovative. Let's do something different. It's ongoing with a can of Coke. It's a one-shot, one objective, something new in the case of a project. The people are homogeneous within process management. In project management, they're more heterogeneous. In other words, project management, part of what's involved there is you want to bring people in from various functional and organizational boundaries. So you're actually going to do something with maybe the accounting people, and normally you wouldn't work with the accounting people. But on a new project, you need to get accounting input on this new project and how it might work. So projects optimize collaboration within the organization. Engineering, finance, marketing, design, all those people might be involved. So it's more heterogeneous. It's more across the organization. Selling a can of Coke, all of the systems are already in place to support that effort. With a brand new project, sometimes you have to create new systems to support that, and that can be manual systems, and if the project is successful, then there would be machine systems and software systems that would support it as well. Performance, cost, and time is known. When it comes to selling can of Coke, they can tell you exactly how much it's going to cost, exactly what the raw materials are going to be, exactly what the shipping costs are going to be, because we've had that data over years and years and years. With a project, the performance, the cost, the time, it's less certain. Now, one thing I will say about that less certain is that it is there's still some limits on it. A project has a budget and a project has some time constraints, but it's not, they don't have the years and years of data like they have on a process. So part of the line organization, it's a very traditional. CEO reports to the president, and the president has a series of C-level executives: CFO, CEO, CIO, information officer, financial officer, organizational officer reporting to him, and each of those has managers reporting to each of those C-level executives, and the managers have people below them and so forth, and everything that you do is part of that traditional line organization structure. And with a project, again, we're going outside the line organization. We're doing that heterogeneous across borders, looking at things a little different. So it's great to be involved in a project because you get to meet new people. You get to find out some opportunities within the organization outside of your traditional structure, and it's a great way for growth within the organization. We want to follow established practice with traditional models of a process. With a project, you want to reward innovation and even violate the established practice with think outside the box. Another way of saying that is we want to support the status quo with process management, and we want to upset the status quo with project management. So why are projects important? This information, these 5 items, this is from a guy named David Cleland. He's a noted project management researcher. And he says things like shorten project life cycles, narrow project launch windows, increasingly complex and technical products, the emergence of global markets, and an economic period of low inflation have all created the need for some innovation in the form of projects. Now, the thing I want to point out to you is that items 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're all partially or even significantly fueled by the impact of technology, and that technology is a disruptive force. And again, whenever there's a disruptive force, there are winners and there are losers, depending on how you want to define winners and losers. And I say that only to say that one example of a winner would be somebody who understands that because it's disruptive, there are going to be a need in an organization for innovation in the form of projects. And part of taking advantage of that would be being a person who's aware of the role of project management and being involved in projects. Understanding the terminology, understanding the goals and the objectives, being able to speak that language, being able to participate in those teams will lead to opportunities for you to be a winner because of the change that technology is bringing forth. Okay, our final slide here, we have just 3 quick summary points here to wrap up. Projects are distinct from other organizational processes for creating the firm's goods and services. Projects are developed with a clear goal or set of goals and a clear deliverable as the end result. So projects are well defined in what it is they're trying to do. Project and project management skills are necessitated by the changing nature of modern business. Okay, so that's the difference between project and processes.